Today's sponsor is Audible.com, who has more than 180,000 audiobooks and spoken word audio products. Get a free audiobook of your choice at www.audibletrial.com/shark. Hello, welcome back to another episode of Movies, Films, and Flicks. I'm your host, John Loswell. Joining me, as always, are my co-hosts, John Levingood.
Just saying hello from the Center for Action Movie Physics over here, awaiting sponsorship from Red Bull.
Wow. How long were you waiting to do that?
I've been thirsty. I've been waiting to open my Red Bull. I got orange today.
If I had known you were going to do that, Levingood, I wouldn't have taken so long to get this podcast started. Yeah. You were just sitting there the whole time, just parched. I'm just like, I didn't know.
I was scratching my shoulder like a crack addict over here.
Yeah, 2 minutes ago, I was like, "Hey, John, you all right?" And then, he's sitting there scratching himself. He's like, "I just want the pod to start, man. I just want the pod to start."
Oh, man.
Just make something. The pain stop.
Well, now you're better, hopefully. And of course, my other co-host, Mark Hoffmeyer.
Hey guys, do you think Kurt Russell's feeling pretty run down right now, or do you think he's walking tall with a certain news that just came out?
Are you trying to reference something with very clever puns?
I mean, I think they're slightly clever, a little too obvious, but I'm definitely trying to reference something.
Okay. And what is it you're referencing?
The Rock. They're saying The Rock. We don't know yet. It's looking good, but we haven't had any confirmation. But they're saying The Rock is going to remake Big Trouble in Little China. Which, we live in a world where everything gets remade. Everything is going to be remade. So, it's not a shock when you hear it. But, and you know what, though? I'm a huge Rock fan. But what I love about Kurt Russell's role is that he was so self-effacing. And he rocked a sleeveless shirt like none other. And he was the sidekick in a movie. And he was a complete,
oh, yeah.
He was a complete dipshit. Sorry to swear, but, right? He was just a blowhard. Yeah. And so... I love The Rock, but can he pull that off? I mean, will we have a new type of Jack Burton? When The Rock is battling weird straw hat guys, are we actually going to be worried for The Rock? Everything Kurt Russell did in Big Trouble in Little China was just failing up. So I feel like Kurt Russell would just, The Rock would just never be in trouble. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Mark, you're not the only one asking these questions because initial fan response so far is... To put it nicely, mixed. Yeah. I've seen a lot of comments online. Oh, The Rock can never pull off Jack Burton. Jack Burton is a character who's just constantly in over his head, and The Rock, he just, rolls over trouble like it's nothing.
So when you say that the responses are mixed, do you really mean it's more like people are going from ambivalent to death threat, hate mail with cut up letters and this?
People. From all the comments I read, and, I read a lot of internet stuff. That's what I do. But, a lot of people seem to be excited for a remake or a return to that world. No one's really too gung-ho about The Rock playing Jack Burton.
Now, this is going to sound insane, all right? But Big Trouble in Little China is a cult classic. It was ignored in the 80s. Now it's building an audience. So do you think that, 97% of the world is what's that? And then the 3% that love the movie, that adore it, that have championed it since the 80s, that are internet savvy, are going insane. So it's the vocal minority that are going crazy about it. And the rest of the people are like, Big Trouble in Little China? Kurt Russell? Was Kurt Russell the guy that drank Belgian beer with Vin Diesel in Fast 7?
It's definitely the vocal minority. But you also, as you said, it didn't do that well at the box office initially. It's your classic cult hit. So the majority, the vocal minority, is actually the majority of the movie's fan base.
So the vocal minority is the majority of the people that have watched it?
Yeah. No one's... I bet
we at the Center for Action Movie Physics over here are doing calculations trying to solve how that's possible.
Yeah. It's some very interesting calculus.
John is in the background on a green screen. We can see it, but you guys can't. He's like moving around numbers like he's a weatherman, and he has a picture of Kurt Russell, a picture of The Rock.
Yeah.
He has a Lopan. Like it's really pretty great what he's doing.
Well, here's the thing: it's the remake starring The Rock is going to do well, no matter how well he plays Jack Burton. A lot of people that are going to see the movie are going to be Rock fans. They're not going to be Big Trouble in Little China fans, or heaven forbid, they're not going to be Kurt Russell fans. I know.
They got to give him a cameo somehow. He's got to have a cameo.
It's just
like the Rock's boss or something like that.
Yeah, I don't know. I like the idea of just having The Rock play a different character and have Kurt Russell still play an older, grizzled, cranky Jack Burton. How awesome would that be?
Just demote The Rock to Scorpion King status and just make him a bad guy with a couple scenes.
Yeah.
So, random thought. So in Big Trouble in Little China, Kurt Russell saves the day with like a tiny knife. But imagine that tiny knife in The Rock's hands. Like there's a Far Side comic that shows like an elephant, and these hunters are like, "Watch out! The elephant has a knife." And it's like this tiny little knife. So The Rock running around, like he's going to have like a machete in this one to make it seem believable.
Right.
He'll have to have that giant sword that Ned Stark had in Game of Thrones. He had the biggest sword in a show about a throne made of swords.
Yeah. Valerian steel.
Yeah.
Was it the Oath Keeper? The Rock would have the rock bottom. I don't know.
The rock bottom, like he deflects blades with his butt. He just turns around and bends over.
No, that was his finishing move.
Yeah. So the biggest question everyone has
he didn't have a butt that was really well, I guess he did, but his finishing move was where he like slammed people.
Yeah.
There was a hero that used his butt. Remember what was it? Was it Powdered Toast Man or is it
Powder? What? It was Rikishi. Are we talking about wrestling or movies?
No, I'm talking about the little side cartoon thing from Ren and Stimpy, Powdered Toast Man.
Yeah, Powdered Toast Man. He would just like sit on people, I think. But so did Rikishi. So
yeah.
I don't know.
Or Umaga. Hey, John, we went to a WWE event.
Yeah, it was in Tampa, and the main event was John Cena versus the Great Khali.
And Umaga, it was the worst.
Yeah.
So guys, we're at this WWE event, and John and I used up all of our good lines in like the dark matches.
Yeah.
So everyone thought we were hilarious, and so for the next 3 hours, we had nothing.
Oh, we were just on fire for that 15 minutes though.
And everyone loved us, and then we had nothing. And then people kind of
like hit him in the aorta.
That sounds like something an angry grandmother would say.
Yeah.
And
like,
Elizabeth had
why
a
did
sign
you fall
that
down?
said,
He didn't even hit you.
John had a sign that said, "I'm with stupid," and it pointed down.
Yeah.
I digress.
Yeah. No. I guess the biggest question is, can The Rock allow himself to be a sidekick in this movie, in the remake?
It's not happening. It's not.
And let Iko Ue tear it up.
That would be awesome.
I will say that, growing up as a wrestling fan in the late 90s, I am a fan of The Rock, and I do think he can pull that off, like being a kind of a jokey type of sidekick role, because I've seen him do that in the WWF, or WWE as it's known now. It's just he hasn't had to do it lately, He's been propped up as kind of like the big action hero, but this is his first chance to just kind of, well, not his first chance because he's done like comedic movies before, horribly, but I think this is his I think he views this as his first chance to kind of show his comedic chops, because apparently he's also a huge fan of this movie.
Yeah, he loves it, and I'm a big fan of The Rock. I think Jack Burton's so iconic. And the people that have loved the film for years have like championed it, so they're so close to it. Right. So the vocal minority are the majority, and they're just not giving The Rock a chance.
Let's just make one thing clear: he'll never be able to top Kurt Russell.
No,
but we will be rooting for him.
There we go.
Right,
I like it.
All right, so now we got movie news out of the way. I don't know if that's going to be a regular segment.
No way.
Kurt Russell related movie news.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. Let's move on to listener questions. And Mark, I think you got the questions this week.
Yeah, so our questions this week come from our Facebook page at Movies, Films, and Flicks. And this guy has listened to every single one of our pods. great follower. His name is Christopher Kelly. And he asked us a series of questions that we're going to answer throughout the pod. So he earned his spot to ask a whole boatload of questions. So the first one is, why do they keep reopening Camp Crystal Lake? So if you don't know, Camp Crystal Lake is from the Friday the 13th films, where many promiscuous teenagers get murdered. So I think it's a good question.
I think, I don't know.
Okay, I think I've got this one, because, like, you might come up with some rationalization that, like, maybe somewhere else they opened a camp and they were just called it the same name because, you know, maybe it was recognized or something, and they're just going on idiocy, like horror movie ignorance. But no, that's the bad reason. Think of how many movies are based on someone buying a house, and then later, after they bought it, they find out something horrible happened, and someone in the movie is like, what, you didn't know? Like, yeah. It happens in the new Poltergeist movie. It happens in, like, Amityville Horror. It happens in all these other movies. And so, like, so what if there's this horrible catastrophe at Camp Crystal Lake, and then they cover it up, but, you know, someone owns that land and the buildings on it. So they get a shady real estate agent to sell it without telling them. And they're like, it'll be great. Look for a camp that's already got the houses and everything. They just sell it to someone who just retired across the country or something. And then everyone dies again. And then they do it again. They just keep wash, rinse, and repeat this process with this shady real estate agent. What do you think?
Like it. I like it. It's like, I don't know why you had that visual, but from Dusk Till Dawn, the ending of From Dusk Till Dawn, there's all those trucks in the backyard. It was actually like a temple. But so I did some history about from the Camp Crystal Lake. And
wait, didn't a previous question ask where Camp Crystal Lake was located?
Yeah, it's in New Jersey.
New Jersey.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
John is the most famous podcaster from the north corner of the south side of the western part of New Jersey.
Oh wow, that's
Levin good.
I'm trying to do the calculations here at the headquarters for Action Movie Physics, and I'm still not getting it.
He's still working through the previous problem. It's like vocal majority.
Speaking of ridiculous things, like, so back then we didn't have the internet, right? For most of the movies, even in the early 2000s, not everyone had the internet, so you were still, like, doing ads in the paper and everything. Well, what if Jason was just, like, mailing in with, like, some cash he got off of a dead teenager to a newspaper, ads for, like, camp counselor jobs? And, like, when everyone comes in, he just has all the instructions there. It's like they all come independently, and then they run the camp, and then he gets to kill them, and then he just does it every few years. He starts over.
Wait a minute.
Does Jason type?
He could. I don't know if he's typing or handwriting it or what.
The tip of his machete. Like.
So does he sharpen pencils on his machete?
Oh no, he just uses the tip of his machete just to. It's his words per minute is very low, but like, he gets it done.
Where's he getting the paper? And he has stamps?
No. He steals the stationery from the campers.
Yeah.
See?
Wait. How about this? How about this for an answer? The reason why they keep opening Camp Crystal Lake is because Jason actually owns the land. Right?
There you go. And he's working with the realtors so he can continue his campaign to fight premarital sex, underage drinking, and teen drug use.
Wow. My mind is blown.
So I gotta go through this little bit of research for you guys about Camp Crystal Lake. So it opened in 1957, right? Jason dies because some campers were off having premarital sex, I think, and he drowned. And then his mom, Pamela, killed two people, so they closed it at like 1957. And they apparently, according to the Friday the 13th wiki, they kept her employed for 24 years until they opened again in 1979. But the problem is, like, every year they kept trying to open it, and she would sabotage it, basically. So, like, they'd get bad water, or they get, like, Canadian moths every year. Like, so we're thinking for 20 years, the same family's trying to open this place, and they're like, well, I just don't get it. Every year we're ready to go, and we get a three-toed sloth into a station. I don't get it. And, like, how
is someone hitting the panic button over a three-toed sloth? Is what's happening? Like, quarantine the camp. We've got sloths.
And they paid people for 22 years without opening the park. So they basically spent millions of dollars while being sabotaged by Jason's mom.
Wait, so if they released a sloth That's really not a tough creature to wrangle. Like,
No, your joke. Sloths are very tough to wrangle.
Yeah, listen, they may be slow, but they got those
How do-
claws, and they just like.
How do we know they're slow?
Well, no, there's documentaries, right?
So
Unless-
they get the sloth infestation cleared up after 20 years of just many deaths. Like probably hundreds of people died trying to get these sloths out, right? So they tried to reopen it in 1979, and the mom kills them all, right? So she kills them, right? And then in part 2, Friday the 13th part 2, they try to open it again. And then Jason comes and kills everybody. And then in Jason, the final chapter, he starts killing people at the lake, not the camp, but they start killing people at Camp Crystal Lake. And then in the final chapter, part 6, they change the name to Camp Forest Green to fool everybody. So, John, your real estate thing comes into play here.
See? Yeah. There we go.
Yep. And then he goes back to the camp, kills more people. And then in New Blood, he starts killing the people who live on the lake. And then in Jason Goes to Hell, they catch him at the camp. And then Freddy versus Jason, they fight when the camp is being rebuilt. We're talking millions of dollars. And why would you live on that lake?
Well, it's very picturesque.
Listen, I'm not gonna lie. All right, view's great.
Yeah,
but you might die.
Okay, wait. Again, though, like Jason versus Freddy, that was 2003, right? Well, I had dial-up internet in 2003. so the people who bought it, who were buying the houses in 2003, looking to retire or move cross country, they've probably been planning this for at least a year, like 2002, 2001, before the big move. They might not even had internet. Not everybody had internet at the time quite yet. So newspapers, they just didn't know.
So you know what? I got a scene in my head, right? These people move to this house on Camp Crystal Lake, and they find out about Jason. They're like, "Quick, pull up the internet." And then they do it, and it's dial-up, and it's like, beep, and like in the background, you see Jason slowly walking towards them, and they're like, "Come on!" And then that little hourglass thing spinning around, and like then it goes to Yahoo, and then they misspell it, and then they got to go in it. They're dead.
Oh. And then like that's in the very beginning of the movie when they first see Jason. An hour later, at the end of the movie, it finally comes up after he kills the last person, and it says, to kill Jason, just throw some miak on him. Just some Bulgarian miak.
Pure Bulgarian miak.
I bet you didn't think I could find it this time of year.
I'm a little too light on my feet. Ernest Scared Stupid forever, people. So I think that answers it. So
very thoroughly, I think.
Realtors, people that love the camp, and old people who don't have dial-up internet.
Yeah.
I think I developed a word for our podcast and our questions. We slightly answer questions.
Yeah, because we actually obfuscate the issue even more after answering it.
I think that we copiously answered that with only slightly credible answers.
You guys don't know how happy I am that I actually got to use the word obfuscate.
Yeah, that was legit.
I was just like, I'm really proud of myself right now.
Yeah,
I think
I'm waiting for the day I can use pugnacious.
Yeah,
you just used it right now.
Oh.
No, that didn't count.
The day is nigh.
Yeah. Okay, what's the next question, Mark?
All right, so the next question is, what does Jason Voorhees eat?
Now, that dude, I get that we've had different actors play him, but we'll pretend that the actors don't matter. And therefore, throughout the course of the movies, maybe his level of swelling or contracting in the water when he's stored, when he's dead or whatever, he changes height from like 6'3" to 6'5", right? He's a big, sizable dude. He's got that farmer build. Like, he's got to get a lot of protein.
Yeah.
He's got to.
So, do you think when he's stuck at the bottom of the lake, which happens to him many, many, many times, that he's just chilling down there, snagging fish that come by? Or
he's like one of those fish with the little the little glow in the dark thing hanging off its head, and he just leaves his mouth open, and once a little guppy goes in there or something, he chomps it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he just eats a lot of fish, and then there's like the occasional fisherman that gets like overzealous. He's like, I got a big one. And then like he's fighting for it, then gets pulled in the water and never comes back up.
So, but here's an alternative theory. Maybe like something is pulling him towards all these teenagers at Camp Crystal Lake, or Camp Forest Green, what have you, and like maybe think about what these kids are doing. Like they're all like intoxicated or doing drugs or having premarital sex. But the drugs and the alcohol, they pretty much just facilitate the sex. I think that he's somehow chemically feeding off of sex pheromones from teenagers when their hormones are raging at camp.
So it's like interesting. It's like those plants that can suck water from the air. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly like that. Here at the Center for Action Movie Physics, we are cracking down on this theory.
Isn't that all plants though? That do that?
Yeah. Wait, what?
What?
The succulent? What?
Well, whatever. I think we're getting out of our depth.
I think we slightly answered that.
Yeah.
I think we copiously gave that a slight answer.
So you're saying fish, fishermen, and sex pheromones.
Human sex pheromones. Because he doesn't necessarily... Like, if he's undead... And last week we talked about zombies and their lack of a need to eat. So he's undead, but electrons are moving in his body for him to be animated. So he needs electrons. So maybe what he's eating is more chemically bond sensitive. You know, he's trying to eat things to break ionic bonds or something. Maybe sex pheromones have lots of that.
Right.
Like he's more getting energy. Like when Arnold in T2 like stuck his thumb in the cigarette lighter or something. Didn't he to get charged?
Yeah. I don't know. I still feel like, because he's a big dude, as you said, Lemon Good, I still feel like that's not enough protein for him.
Hormones are raging in these teens, and the undead metabolism reduces his need for protein intake. Plus, he moves very slowly.
Maybe he has a GNC membership.
I mean, he might be getting, some people who are trying to cut down for a bodybuilding show, they go mostly on supplements. Yeah. Maybe Jason is just like perpetually cutting for a show, like a bodybuilding show. And so it's mostly protein shakes, whey powder.
So he probably goes out on Halloween, right? He goes out on Halloween and stocks up.
Yeah. Perfect time to go. No, you never see Jason without a shirt. You think he's got a six-pack underneath that?
I think he's got a six-pack of putrefied sores.
Oh gosh!
he's just been sitting there soaking in the lake. Like, it can't be good.
I just took
and he's got like fish, like giving their little nibbles at it, like when a fish bites at your bait but doesn't quite take it. Yeah. They're little. You see that little cloud of tissue after they nip at it.
So wouldn't he always come out of the lake naked? Then how does he get his clothes?
I don't know, man. He's a pretty practical guy. He just takes what's on hand. Yeah.
Like Tom Cruise from Ghost Protocol, where he finds the perfect leather jacket.
No, he stops at Hollister after shopping at GNC.
Like, Jason is pretty much always dressed in stuff that you'd expect to find like in the camp utility closet, where like the groundskeepers and the janitor, custodian, whatever, would be wearing like those onesie mechanic suits or whatever. He's got a burlap sack, and he's in the Northeast, right? They're in like northwestern Jersey, so they like hockey up there. That's why he has no problem finding hockey masks in all these movies. Those kids are just they're playing pickup games of street hockey, like in Clerks.
Yeah. Oh wow.
It's no problem for him to get that. All of a sudden, it's not so weird for him to have that. If he was in Canada, I'd be shocked that he ever didn't have a hockey mask on.
With a toque on top.
You know what? And then he'd have like one of those 2-beer hats on.
We love you, our Canadian listeners.
Sorry.
But you know it. You know it's true.
You guys like beer and hockey.
Yeah.
It's not a bad combo. Also,
you're allowed to like other things as well.
But. Well, I'm a Fast and the Furious fan. I love Corona and tank tops.
Yeah.
And Tampa.
Yeah, oh gosh. St. Pete.
All right, so that's the second question. He actually had more questions, right?
Yeah, we'll answer them after the break.
All right. Well, I guess that does it for now for listener questions. I think it's time to move on to our first topic of the day. And I always confuse this because whenever I say, like, Mark, you got a topic, like, no, Levingood's got it. Or like when I say Levingood's, you got a topic, like, no. Mark's
Levingood's got a topic.
All right. Levingood, you got a topic.
Well, why, thank you, John.
All right.
For passing the torch.
Yeah. That's a great segue. I love it.
It's a great segue. It's like, that segue is as awesome as Paul Blart's segue.
It's probably my best one yet.
So Mad Max Fury Road, right? This is that movie where we all saw the trailer and all of us were just hoping beyond hope that this could be just a fraction as cool as it looks in the trailer. And most of the time that happens, we're disappointed. Now, we've all seen this movie. Was anyone in the least disappointed by Mad Max Fury Road?
I love it. I loved it.
You know, it was such a subtle, nuanced, understated movie.
This was about as subtle as putting a jackhammer to your head.
No, honestly, it was just this movie. It did not pull any punches in anything. It was just they cranked up the volume like to max, and then they just like pulled the volume knob off and threw it away just to make sure no one muted it again. And it was just wow. I remember walking out of theater. I'm just thinking like, man, I'm gonna need a couple days to recover from this movie.
You know what I loved about it is that it doesn't just like put you into the action. It throws you into the action, and it is crazy and bonkers. And there's like they speed up the frame rates. It goes crazy. It goes that they speed up everything, and they explain it through the course of the movie. Like there's not a lot of expository dialogue. You just find it out as you go along. And I think for a lot of people that might be frustrating. But I loved how it's not just like told to you. You see it. And I love that about it. I love that it just dives head in, and then you learn everything as you go along.
Yeah, the plot is actually very simple. 90% of the movie is just a chase scene, really.
Well, yeah, I mean, so the plot is essentially that there's this post-apocalyptic dictator in this wasteland who controls the population, and he has a harem of sex slaves that he uses to produce children. And one of his followers turns on him to escape with those sex slaves, thinking that these women need to be freed. And Mad Max just gets stuck in the middle of it and wants nothing to do with it. And that's essentially your plot. I don't feel like I missed anything there.
Yeah, and like, you know, I just love that. Like, I love the guy's name, Morton Joe, Hugh Keith Byrne. He was in the original Mad Max. And I love that character, though. Like, in the beginning scene, they don't tell you anything, but they show you it. Like they're putting on that clear body armor on him, and they show that his body's all disfigured and gross. You know, he's like the grossest dude ever, but he has control of the water. And he has like two sons that's either like a 7-foot giant or like a 2-foot little person.
Yeah.
And like, oh man. And Mad Max, yeah.
When you, just right there, when I first saw that little guy, and we see Nathan Jones, who's 6'11", he's the other son, and we see this disfigured dwarf as the other son, and we see them both. The first thing I thought of was Master Blaster from Thunderdome. I thought Master Blaster. I was really wondering if later in the movie I was going to see him like mounted on Nathan Jones, and Nathan Jones is just making sounds like a rancor throwing Mad Max around.
And like, I love how Mad Max, I guess, he just gets caught immediately. Then he becomes this guy named Nux's. See, there's these war boys, right? And so Morton Joe has control of all these war boys. They're kind of like these bald-headed, like a mixture of like Vikings and Nazis, where they're totally loyal. They're dying of radiation sickness, and they're actually really capable. Like they're actually good at what they do as far as taking down cars and driving, and I mean they're legit trained squad, and they think that if they die they'll go to Valhalla. And so Imperator Furiosa, played by Charlize Theron, Morton Joe's wives, Tom Hardy, Mad Max, are being chased by this like cavalcade of really proficient, skilled drivers and killers.
Also a flame wielding guitarist.
Oh my God! Wait! We just have to stop for a moment and talk about this guitarist that he calls like the Doof Warrior. I like how all these guys in the movie have like weird nicknames. Yeah. But this Doof Warrior, right? Like he's playing a double-necked guitar on a vehicle that's modified into a stage that's made entirely out of amps. His double-neck guitar is shooting flames 20 feet out. He's wearing a red onesie like he came out of some insane asylum from the 50s, and he's wearing a mask which, according to an article I read, it's supposed to be his character's mother's face.
Okay.
Like and so the only reason I can think of to put this character in, other than to maybe psych out your war boys when their motorcade is moving along, with like a war chant, is just because it's amazingly awesome. It's one of those things that keeps your mouth open while you're watching the movie.
When I saw that, I was thinking like, how many did he go? Like, did he think of like putting in a guitarist like straight off, or do you like have to go through like? Did he go through a couple instruments? Like, did he also have like a drummer of death?
An accordionist?
Yeah. A
xylophone
like
that shoots missiles?
Was there like a drumline type instructor that trained them all?
Yeah.
Or Whiplash? Like, I mean, like, but you know what I love though? He's the doof warrior. Like, you know how Star Wars has stuck around for so long? It's because there were side characters that are in there for like 3 minutes and they have entire books written about them. This film has side characters that should have movies.
Yeah, I want to know this guy's story.
Yeah, and like, but that's what I love about it. It doesn't tell you everything. Like, all right, let's give some love to Charlize Theron. Like, next to like last year's Emily Blunt in Edge of Tomorrow, she's one of the best female. I'm not even going to say here like female. I'm just going to say she's one of the best action characters I've seen in ages.
She was the real hero in this movie.
Yeah, she was. I mean, they pulled a Big Trouble in Little China, and they Jack Burtoned an unwilling Max.
Yeah. And like she has one arm. She has her head shaved. She's incredibly tough. She never acts tough. She realizes the value of having Max around. Just a great character. If she doesn't get a Best Supporting Actress nomination, I'm gonna hurt. My soul's gonna be hurt because she was just that good.
Now, I heard some commentary that later in the movie they encounter kind of this tribe of people that wasn't under Immortan Joe's rule, and it's all these kind of, we'll call them older women, not like elderly necessarily, all of them, but these older women. And some people were saying that they were pushing the feminist envelope too hard. I really didn't get that. But the thing is that all the female characters in this movie are strong, and when they get their moments where it's just them or just them and someone else on screen, they have their moment to show that individually they're credibly strong. So it's not just the movie telling you, hey, these are some strong women. They do things. They make sacrifices. They fight when they are completely unarmed. Even those breeders, they called those sex slaves, they're all turning on Max when he's fighting Charlize Theron's Furiosa. These older women they find, these tribeswomen, they're shooting when they're running out of ammo at the motorcade of war boys. It looks hopeless.
Yeah, I mean, and they're still rolling deep. They're still swinging punches at like 6'11" people.
Oh, I mean, yeah. The women in this movie were strong, and it wasn't one of those movies that's trying to shove it down your throat. They just were. In fact, only the women characters in this movie were strong almost.
I hate that argument, though, about how it's like too feminist, because that's ridiculous. Like these women, they grew up in so Charlize Theron wants to escape with the breeders, who Rose, the 5 women are named Splendid, Toast the Knowing. I want a movie about how she became Toast the Knowing. Capable, who actually is very capable, and her and Nux have a good relationship. Fragile, and the Deg. And so these 5 women, they're going to go to this green place where Charlize Theron originally was kidnapped from, and she just remembers, the women ran the place, but now it's desert. Spoilers. But no, these women were the last ones that survived from that. So it's absolutely credible. Like, they're still holding their land. They're still using ways to kidnap people, take people out. Like, I bet you they've straight murdered many, many, many people.
They're the survivors out there. Yeah, they're surviving in this cruel world.
And this is going to sound insane, but this movie reminds me a lot of Jurassic Park. So Jurassic Park.
Was there a fire-wielding guitarist in Jurassic Park?
Yeah, no, but what I'm saying with the special effects wise. Okay. So the dinosaurs fit, like the T-Rex, they fit within the world. They weren't shoehorned in. The dinosaurs worked with the practical effects. So, they were like in Jurassic Park, the T-Rex, that glass that the kids had their hands on was CGI. It worked within the world, but a lot of it was practically done. Now, Mad Max had a ton of practical effects. All the cars had to be functional. The Doof Warrior's guitar actually had to shoot flames. But it was augmented by amazing special effects that it wasn't like Star Wars, the later ones, or, other movies like Van Helsing or, I don't know, Wrath of the Titans that just focused around CGI. The CGI worked in in conjunction with the practical effects and the African desert. So a lot of the special effects you won't notice.
Yeah, and oh god, that all that desert. I mean, for a movie that takes place in this huge, vast wasteland, that wasteland was like an electric yellow sand color. Like, it was gorgeous. This whole movie was beautiful. The explosions, I can't explain it. Like, it was the richest yet most credible orange that I could see in that wasteland. And then in the center of it all, they're trying to get to the antithesis of that, this green place that you mentioned that Furiosa is going to take these 5 breeders to. And all I can think of is Dryland and Waterworld, where it's like this hopeless dream. And by that same account, in Waterworld, you have Kevin Costner, who's a guy who has very few lines, like Max in this movie has even fewer lines. He's a loner without a name pretty much through most of this movie. He doesn't say his name until the end of the movie. And so it's like this actually parallels Waterworld quite a bit. And then he has these women who have this goal to get there, and he really wants nothing to do with it at first.
Yeah, but I feel like Waterworld ripped off, like, The Road Warrior.
Oh, could be.
Yeah, and then, like, with, like, the chase scenes and the post-apocalyptic and, like, I mean, like we said Romero last week with the zombie films influencing zombie films, George Miller, the director, with Mad Max and The Road Warrior Beyond Thunderdome, influenced post-apocalyptic films for the next 30 years, 40 years.
You know, and while we're at it, with Kevin Costner, even the Postman is superficially similar in theme.
Yeah.
I mean, he wants nothing to do with all these people who want his help. He's lying about his identity through the whole movie. And there's this dictator who he's resisting that he ends up crossing paths with that he wants nothing to do with. It's the Kevin Costner singularity theory. The Center for Action Movie Physics is coming up with legitimate findings.
Beep, 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 beep,
beep. Calculations, you just hear me tapping a computer.
Mark, I just want to go off something you said earlier. So you're saying that the flame, like spewing guitar, actually exists in real life?
Yes. The guy was building things, and so the production designer would build something, and George Miller was like, "Does it work?"
Ooh. So what if someone accidentally mixed up the guitars, and someone actually accidentally like took the guitar on tour with them? Like, what if Keith Richards took that guitar on stage, and like right in the middle of a solo,
lit Billy Zane on fire?
Yeah.
Because Billy Zane was there, he was just like a friend of the band.
No, John said that he wants Billy Zane to be in Scorsese's.
That's right.
Or John Mayer's on stage. He's about to play "My Body's a Wonderland," and then he just lights a fan on fire. Oh,
my body is.
So this guy's really shooting flames. We have all these heavily modified vehicles and explosions and things, and a lot of the effects are practical. I mean. So the budget, Mark. This was something magnificent, Mark. You know the figure.
It was $150 million, and what's amazing about that is it's 150 R-rated $150 million epic that has Tom Hardy and Charlize Theron, who are great actors. They just, I don't know if they can. They've never really carried massive films by themselves. Shot in the deserts of Africa, it is a 4th film to a cult classic series. And it features guys with radiation sickness, heavy milkmaids that are pumping milk from their breasts to feed Immortan Joe's sons.
Yeah, that was a great scene.
You know, female heroes. Like, you don't get that much. You don't, like, this is not an ordinary film. This is something that doesn't happen every day.
Didn't this movie run into a little bit of production hell, though? Because this movie was actually filmed in 2012. It's 2015 right now.
And so... All right, so they had a lot of. I mean, you shoot in Africa. There's a lot of sandstorms, production delays, and they would go into days. Charlize Theron was saying that they would go into this day without a script, and so if you work in production, that's a nightmare. She said we just drove around for 6 months, and a couple of the wives, like Toast to Knowing, Splendid, they had to get sent away for a week for like a mental health break because they were like straight up losing it. And one of the actresses, I think Zoe Kravitz, brought back like 60 pounds of chocolate back with her onto the set. Like, this movie was an immense labor of love, full of production problems, no script, studio meddling. Tom Hardy and Charlize Theron didn't get along, supposedly. And I mean, it's amazing that it even came out the way it did. And listen, Jaws is my favorite film. I'm not going to compare this to Jaws, but you can't recreate these movies. There's no blueprint for these films.
So I've got another like kind of weird factor here. Now, if you look at George Miller's body of work in the last 20 years, specifically looking at movies that he helmed in the last 20 years, the only things he's done other than this as the director were Babe, Pig in the Big City, Happy Feet, and Happy Feet 2. That's what he's been spending the last 20 years in the lead position on. That's what he's been doing. And so he's also making the jump of almost budgetless by comparison, Mad Max universe movies to children's movies for 20 years. I mean, he was doing production work and everything in addition to that. And then all of a sudden, he's given the steering wheel again, the steering wheel to the Cult of Valhalla, and he just conquers it. Like he hit it out of the park. He's like,
it out.
I mean, it really took me aback when I saw it in his filmography. I was just like, oh, what's he been doing? Babe, Pig in the Big City, Happy Feet? Yeah, he's ready for the next Mad Max.
And sure. It breaks my heart because he was supposed to direct a Justice League movie with like Armie Hammer, Teresa Palmer, Jay Baruchel. They were going to film it in Australia with like a $200 million budget. And then the writer's strike came through and this whole thing was dropped. So I would have loved to have seen him direct Superman and Batman. But all right, so Wes Anderson did Fantastic Mr. Fox, and then he came back and he did Moonrise Kingdom and Grand Budapest Hotel. But you could see a lot of influence from Fantastic Mr. Fox in his later films. I wonder if during his animation and dealing with like CGI and all this kind of stuff that he learned some tricks to make Mad Max better.
I mean, he did have a lot of experience other than the limited direction that I had mentioned. But, like, I mean, there's a great mind behind making this movie and the other people teaming up with him. I mean, I don't know what goes into this. I don't know anything about production, but coordinating this junkie XL guy who did the score, and I think he was also the Doof Warrior in the movie, but the guy who did the scoring for this made that huge action sequence, that 30-minute action sequence in the beginning of the movie, like, work so powerfully. It wasn't Die Hard, that horrible Die Hard movie that we got most recently in Russia, where this action movie nobody cares. When they went into that sandstorm, the music picked up and you felt it.
Yeah.
Yeah, this movie works on every level.
I want to say that if you look at the first 3 Mad Max movies, they're very decently shot. They're not bad movies. We're talking aesthetics here. But if you go to Fury Road, it just feels like there's a huge jump in terms
and the
of
cinematography was so grand, and it matched the score, and it matched the action, and I cared the whole time.
So, yeah, maybe he did learn a couple tricks from Happy Feet.
Happy Feet. Well, I mean, like, I got so excited there, I kind of derailed from Mark's initial. What were you thinking, Mark, when you first brought that up before I went off?
So, like, Brad Bird went from Ratatouille and The Incredibles to Mission Impossible: Ghost Protocol, which is, I think, one of the best action films. It's not the best, but it's one of the best action films of the last 10 years. So this guy came from animation to Ghost Protocol. So and he knew how to stage scenes. Like when you watch Tom Cruise on the side of that building, you felt danger. Like you felt he was on the tallest building in the world, and it felt dangerous. So I wonder if any of that animation kind of comes into play.
I think
because Happy Feet had a lot of broad, sweeping shots and everything over that, like the Arctic wasteland, if you will. Maybe that did help with the vision of it.
If you think about it, if you're in animation or if you're directing an animated movie, the only thing you're working with is just storyboards, basically. And if you're just so focused on storyboards, directing animated movies for a couple of years, when you go to live action, I think you're still, I'm trying to put thoughts in George Miller's head here, but he's probably still in the animation mode. It's like, well, like I did this and this on Happy Feet, so I know how that translates to whatever. So I'm just thinking, like, if you think about it, Fury Road, if that, like, how well would that translate to an animated medium?
Well,
I think
you
would
nailed
translate
it.
really
You
well.
nailed it because Charlize Theron said that she didn't really see a script. She just saw hundreds of storyboards for Mad Max.
Right. So he was still in animation mode when he made this movie. Could that also explain the really bright colors?
God, what a beautiful movie.
And there was a penguin. That a penguin did get exploded. There's a scene where if you watch deep in the background, when one of the trucks flies out to your right, you'll see this penguin that's just straight up on fire going, "Wah!"
Okay. For a second there, I thought you were being serious. I'm like, wait.
So many things about this movie. It's not just a couple things. So many things about this movie were over the top, yet it didn't feel over the top to me, like, while I was watching it. But I mean, these war boys, they've got their piercings, they've got their radiation poisoning, they've got their branding, burning, whatever body modifications all over them. They're literally spray painting their mouths silver like they're chrome wheels before dying for this dictator to go be carried in his arms, as he tells one guy, to Valhalla. Like, it's all so out there, right? And yet, like, I don't know. I was swallowing it all. I wasn't even, like, checking my brain at the door to do it.
Like, well, you know that scene where Furiosa initially drives away and she she goes right instead of going straight, and her right hand man is a war boy, and he's like, "Hey, boss, what are we doing?" And she's like, "Oh, we're just taking a detour." And he's like, "Okay, boss." Like, these guys, like, they trusted her, and, like, they're very good at what they do. So, like, they're all these, they're brainwashed, they're dying, but I feel like these are, like, capable guys that have just been really led. I mean, they're insane, of course, but I really like the back. Like, he was like a short order cook going and talking to Furiosa, and he's like, "Where are we going now, boss?" "Oh, we're just gonna keep going." "Okay." And then he tells the crew, and, like, for a while they even fight off everybody. They help her, like, so, like, there's all this weird mythology, but they're actually, like, trusting and pretty good at what they do.
Yeah.
There's earnestness to them.
Yeah. I will say that one of the scenes that made me laugh was with Nux when Morton Joe catches up with them, and Nux is talking like, "No, I can get him. I can get him." And then Morton Joe gives him, like, that huge pep talk, like, "You'll go to Valhalla."
I will carry you in my own arms through the gates of Valhalla.
So, like, Nux he's all pumped up, he's hyped. He jumps onto the war rig, and then he just, like, trips and falls. And Morton Joe's like, mediocre. It just drives off. I was just laughing so hard.
I'm not trying to blaspheme here, but what Nux, which is Nicholas Hoult, by the way, what Nux is just buying as Immortan Joe is spoon feeding it is it's the equivalent of, "Hey, look, you do this for me, we're gonna go hand in hand. I'm gonna take you and introduce you to Jesus at the gates." Like, and he just bought it.
Yeah,
and he just blindly bought it. It was amazing, the fanaticism. But again, I was buying it. These guys are jumping off of cars, these hell war machines, right? Holding basically spears with explosives on the end to intentionally die and take out a vehicle.
What about those guys on those?
Gonna...
What about those guys on his poles? They were just like.
And they made those for real.
Really?
Yeah, those metronoming guys swinging back and forth. I mean, that was bonkers. I mean, totally bonkers. But I'm just sitting there loving it because the music was there, the intensity was there. I think the music helped bring it together tremendously. But of course, the beautiful, broad, grand cinematography. I mean, this movie to me, in an abstract way, was perfect.
And like. And the Wise, at first they started off kind of not bratty, but like they hated Max. They were rude, but they kind of came, not entitled. I'm sure they lived a hell of a life, but they came from a very pampered lifestyle. So then they're thrown into a truck with Max. And like, at first you're like, why are they being mean to Max? But then they all kind of have their personality, like Nux and Capable, Riley Keough, who's Elvis's granddaughter. They had a nice relationship. Zoe Kravitz was toast to knowing. She knew all about like the bullets. Rose Huntington Whiteley, like she got a head nod and a thumbs up from Max. Like no one else gets that.
Yeah.
I I love it. And every character, none of them are explained their backstory. Furiosa gets a little bit, but most of their backstories are not explained, but you learn about them through their actions. And with horror films, in every film, I kind of preach that, like, and even writing, like, show me, don't tell me. And maybe with animation, you actually have to show people. I don't know, but
just real quick, I love it when action movies, they make the main character the proxy for the audience. In this movie, Max I think he doesn't say much, and I think that's done on purpose. He just kind of represents the audience. In the beginning, he's taken captive. Like, he's forced to go along to chase Furiosa. At the same time, it's like, we don't know what's going on either.
He's like Kurt Russell and Soldier. If you put all their lines from both of their movies, Soldier and Mad Max Fury Road, on one page, it would all fit.
No, I love that too, and I think that's a great like that show Vikings. They introduced a priest into the Viking world, and then that kind of opened up a lot of unknown and like him learning in the process and seeing it. And I love that aspect of it. Like, when done right, it's a great way to move the plot forward.
Yeah.
But there's one thing I don't like about this movie, and it's one word. Charlize Theron calls gasoline guzzling, and I hate that word guzzling. Like, when I hear it, I just cringe. She's like, "Yeah, I got 50 tons of guzzling," and it's just like, ugh.
They might not know the word anymore, though. Like, Joe might have been calling it that or something, or we don't know how far off it is in the future.
I got 50 tons of Joe.
I got 50 tons of Sarlacc pits.
Yeah, exactly. I think the word guzzling, it just doesn't work.
Guzzling.
Oh gosh.
Guzzling.
Oh gosh.
So now this is something totally out of left field, but bear with me here, because this kept happening to me during the movie. Tom Hardy gets captured, right? And they put this kind of Hannibal Lecter mask on him, I guess, so he can't bite. But the first thing I thought of was Tom Hardy. He played Bane. That's like his Bane mask.
Yeah.
And then later, you got Nathan Jones, 6'11", almost 400 pounds, that giant guy Rictus. And back when they were making The Dark Knight Rises, I was actually specifically thinking of him for Bane. I was disappointed that they didn't cast him, because he's perfect, and I know he looks good with the shaved head. Because he's like that in all of his movies. He's in Tony Jaa's movie as a bad guy. He's been in a lot of other... Yeah, he's the Protector. He's in The Condemned with Stone Cold Steve Austin. He's been in a lot of cool action movies. And so I thought of him as Bane. And then his dad in this movie is Immortan Joe, and he's kind of a big burly guy, and he's got this little Bane gas mask thing going on. And I kept being reminded of Bane. I'm nuts. Maybe I'm the only one in the universe who thought this.
You wanted Tom Hardy to bust out the Bane voice in the middle of Mad Max.
Hey, Immortan Joe. Would you like to go to Red Lobster?
Well, I've got the guy who played Bane, the guy who I wanted to play Bane, and a guy who almost looks like an elderly Bane with hair.
Wow. Okay. Well, before we wrap up Mad Max, I just want to say how hilarious it was, where the majority of the plot, they're trying to run away from the Citadel, and then when they reach the basically near the end of the movie, they decided to just go back.
Yeah.
Let's just go back.
Yeah, it's like they forgot their keys or something.
Yeah, wait. So we got a 160-day ride in the desert? Mad Max is like, no. Let's just go back.
Yeah.
Exactly.
we should address a fan theory that's been going around.
Yeah.
So there's this fan theory. I picked it up from an article by Nerdist, but I don't know what their source is. I don't recall from when I read it. But there was this fan theory going around that the Max character we're seeing is not the Max, Rockatansky from the other movies.
Mel Gibson's.
They're suggesting that this might be Feral Kid, because he doesn't talk much. He grunts a lot. And he's not the hero. He's not as kind of jumping into the action as much as Mel Gibson's Max was. And then they even made a correlation. Even though George Miller says these movies don't necessarily happen in order, the number of years between this and when we meet Feral Kid in the first movie is about the right time to have a Max that's as old as what we're seeing. So the theory was that he kind of took Max's spot or was posing as him when he was asked for a name, or he was just adopting his identity. And I think Max gave him his jacket, Feral Kid the jacket, and so he's wearing this jacket when we first meet him.
Right. Did he also have his car that Mel Gibson used in the first two movies?
Did he have that Ford Falcon in the?
I think it was the beginning of the movie, right, when he gets
Yeah,
captured.
he got taken out. Yeah,
And
I don't think Max would have been taken out that easy either.
Yeah.
And that's something else. This Max that we saw, all he was good at was running.
Yeah.
He wasn't even necessarily a good driver. He got caught almost right away.
Which is what Mel Gibson's Mad Max was known for. Like, you didn't want to get in a combat death race with Mel Gibson's Mad Max.
Like, this might have been a Feral Kid. When he even said his name towards the end, he sounded like he wasn't sure when he said, Max.
Max.
My name is Max.
And then, all right, think about the timeline too. Like the first one, civilization's still going. There's still police, but it's slowly being taken over, right? And then the second one, it's like the bad guys are kind of picking at the scraps of what's left. There's still some civilization. The third one, Tina Turner had her Thunderdome. Mm-hmm. There was still some form of something left. So if we keep with the storyline, I don't, let's say this story takes place a few years later and it's really Mad Max, I don't think it would have devolved that far. But if you look at Feral Kid being that age, it's probably 20 years, maybe 20, 30 years. Right. So in that time, the radiation sickness, blah, 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 that guy could have gotten his lead. So, I mean, it could work in the timeline. I'm
trying to remember, did Mel Gibson's Mad Max, was it a son or a daughter that he had?
That's something that came up in the fan theory, was that his flashes didn't match the family of the original Mad Max.
Because it was a girl that Tom Hardy kept seeing. And I don't really remember like a little girl in the previous movies, unless there was like something I missed.
I thought it was a newborn, right?
Yeah.
Like it was his wife and a newborn, not like, I don't remember it being that girl.
Or maybe that's the thing that was inconsistent with the fan theory. But yeah, they were saying that didn't match up.
Right. Well, I think what we need to do is run some calculations. Well, I'm good. I see you're already on it.
Center for Action Movie Physics is on it.
We'll try to figure out this mystery. But in the meantime, you guys can listen to these commercial messages.
Hey guys, Mark here, and for you, the listeners of Movies, Films, and Flicks podcast, Audible is offering a free audiobook download with a free 30-day trial to give you the opportunity to check out their service. Today, I want to recommend a book to you called City of Thieves. It's written by David Benioff of Game of Thrones lore, and it's narrated by Ron Perlman, Hellboy himself. And it's about these two guys that are condemned to death in World War II Russia. And they're given a reprieve, but they have to find eggs for a general's daughter's wedding. So we're talking about Mad Max today, with the post-apocalyptic landscape. Lots of bad guys, lots of action. This book takes place during a war-ravaged Russia. Depravities all around. The Nazis are coming. The Russians are killing, their own people. It's a beautiful book. It's narrated amazingly by Ron Perlman. So once again, City of Thieves by David Benioff. So to download your free audiobook today, go to audibletrial.com/shark. Again, that's audibletrial.com/shark for your free audiobook. Listen to City of Thieves by David Benioff. Let me know what you think.
Welcome back to MFF. All right, now we've had our break. I think it's time for more listener questions. Mark.
Wait, do you guys hear that? Something's coming from John's war room over there. The results, John's showing me the results. E equals MC Kurt Russell.
Wow.
Kurt Russelled.
Yeah, like the formula, if you look at it, it's the regular formula, E equals MC, but then Levengood actually drew Kurt Russell's face, like right above the C. Levengood, I didn't know you were so talented.
Why'd you choose Kurt Russell from Breakdown?
Yeah.
You have to square that character to get Jack Burton.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
All right, so now comes the final reader question from Christopher Kelly. And it is, how come Jason hasn't died of old age?
Okay, well, first off, today Jason would be like 65. So Why would we expect him to have died of old age?
Like, he just probably retired, you know.
Because he was 9 in 1957.
Right.
So, like, even in Jason versus Freddy, he would have been 55, and that was even without undead aging.
Do you think that's why he moves so slow now? Is because he's actually old?
Yeah.
Like, he's got rheumatism.
Everyone's like, why doesn't Jason move faster? And he's like, if they only knew that I have arthritis.
Yeah.
So like what they don't know is that between 1957 and the first time that he started killing teenagers, he had a bad knee injury. Like, he was playing in the European Football League, picked up a few injuries. He's a big guy.
Yeah. His knees have seen better days.
And that's why we didn't hear about it, because it's the European Football League, right?
Right.
I mean,
Okay,
Yeah, and that's why he goes
why
to
does he
Camp
wear a
Crystal
hockey
Lake.
mask, though, if he plays in the European Football League?
or I shouldn't say that. That sounds like soccer. The Canadian Football League.
Oh,
There we
Canadian
go.
Football League. Yeah, because
That's what I meant.
they
Like,
also wear hockey masks in other sports.
Now, they wear hockey masks for the Canadian Football League. I love Canada, by the way, and I know your football thing is great. I think it's 120 yards.
We love poutine. That's awesome.
No, I love it. Dude, Toronto's my favorite city to work in, so I got to do that. But no, wait. So he has bad knees. He comes back. And maybe that's why he works at Camp Crystal Lake, because he knows everyone's drugged up, drunk, and having sex. It's easy to catch people.
You can just walk after them. They'll fall on their own.
Like, if I wanted to, like, kill animals, I would move to, like, the Arctic and just hunt penguins.
Why penguins?
Well, because they're slow. If I had bad knees, I wouldn't have to worry about them outrunning me on land.
Well, unless they hit the water, then you're just kind of screwed. Unless you're a
They're
great swimmer.
But they lump up in groups of, like, so many.
Right.
Just throw dynamite in the water and watch them float up.
Yeah.
Now, he's been killed a lot, Jason. So I mean, like, he got trapped on the bottom of that lake for like 2 years, and fish ate at him, and he ate fish, of course. Maybe that was his ploy.
That's bad for your joints. He should have been taking glucosamine.
Yeah. So he's down there. I mean, he only makes one trip a year to GNC. So is he an immortal?
No, I think he just found the right combination of supplements.
Oh,
You know.
okay.
To preserve
like
himself.
Yeah. Because
All
like,
right, so-
he was eating all that fish, so he got plenty of fish oil. You know, he went to GNC and got like, what? Let me good. Like, what would Jason get at GNC?
I mean, definitely some fish oil and glucosamine. You got to get glucosamine for those joints.
Right.
You got the fish oil for the inflammation.
Yeah.
He's got a lot of inflammation from that water bloating and
Right.
rotting.
Right.
So do you think he has like one of those like reeds that he just breathes air from? He's down on the bottom and he just has like that big straw in his mouth where he can get air in him? Or does
Yeah.
Jason breathe air?
Like a ninja? Like
Yeah.
he's like a ninja under
He
there
just
with a
holds his
bamboo
breath
shoot?
the whole time.
Yeah.
Jason's just holding his breath the whole time.
So it's like, did he do a stint in the Coast Guard?
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Did
he's
Kevin Costner trained him.
Yeah.
he's a large, slow mammal. He could be like a whale. He can hold his breath for a long time, slow metabolism.
Right. That's what it
And then-
is. Jason has a very slow metabolism. So,
I
Yeah.
like it.
yeah. Yeah.
So he played in the Canadian Football League, got bad knees.
Yeah.
That's why he's so slow. And then he's not that old right now. And then he got stuck on the bottom, and he was in the Coast Guard, and he holds his breath for a long time, and he goes to GNC once a year
Right.
for the water bloat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then,
Apparently, that's the recipe for staying immortal.
guys,
I don't know. We'll see what he looks like when he does the next Jason movie.
it was 100% slightly answered.
Yeah. There you go. Thank you, Christopher Kelly, for those wonderful, wonderful questions. It was a blast. And now, for the second topic of the day, I throw it back to Mr. Levingood, I think, right?
Yeah, so we keep it rigorous and professional here at Movies, Films, and Flicks.
I wouldn't accept any less.
So I recently, with all the hype of the Poltergeist remake, which, you know, it's already out now, with all the hype of that, and there was all the talk, even when they were just looking for a director, you know, last year, I was excited. So I went ahead and I watched the original a few months ago, and then I just saw the remake recently, and I found myself making a lot of brutal comparisons favoring the original over this remake. Now, I know I saw the original recently, and I've also seen it several times. Mark, when was the last time you saw the original?
Oh, man, we're talking 94, 95.
Okay, so you were a kid.
Yeah, I mean,
saw it.
I worshipped this movie as a kid. I really did. I thought, not literally worship, like I didn't have a shrine, like I did for Ernest Scared Stupid. But I mean, I loved it. I loved that movie as a kid, and I just, I guess in the later years, like I didn't want to watch it again because I was afraid it wasn't going to hold up. But in my memory, I love it dearly.
Yeah, and how about you, Lazabeth? Have you seen the original in the last decade, even?
Yeah, I saw it a year ago. I think it popped up on Netflix sometime last year, I want to say. And I watched through it again. It was the first time I saw it, since I was a kid. It wasn't as scary as I remembered it, but I feel like I appreciated the movie more. It just, out of all the horror movies I've seen since then, this one still holds up, even though it doesn't really scare me as much as it did. No, it's a classic for a reason.
Yeah, so I was thinking about remakes that I liked, because I loved the Carrie remake, and then you had the Evil Dead remake, which kept a lot of the iconic scenes of the originals, but they did it in a totally different way. I liked it. A lot of people hated it. I'm just in the light crowd. But so I was curious about this, and this movie, the remake, really is like an almost blatant rehashing and retelling of one recreated scene after another from the original.
It's a garbage pail film.
A garbage pail film, as Mark says.
I sat in the theater today. I on my precious day off, went and watched this, and I just sat there like with a scowl on my face. I didn't have no Red Bull that John's. What kind of Red Bull is that?
This is the yellow edition.
Oh, I like it. I didn't have no yellow edition. I was sitting there looking grumpy. Like all right, I've been defending this movie, and I've just been going Sam Rockwell. Sam Rockwell's in it. It can't be bad. But anybody could have played his role. Like I think he just did it for the money, and like it's just it's like CGI'd. It like now I know Insidious is a ripoff of Poltergeist, but Insidious made this movie look like, I don't know. I hated it. Not hated, but I just disliked it. I felt everyone phoned it in. It was too easy. It ended too quick. It mimicked too many things. There was never any threatening to anything. These people deal with this situation incredibly well. It just crushed my soul.
All right. So, Lemongood, you said that the remake just basically, it's just kind of a carbon copy of the original.
Element by element, with some things that they couldn't duplicate that they changed a little bit. Other things they had CGI, so they tried to push the envelope farther.
Well,
but
what was it that they couldn't duplicate? Like, why did the original have that soul that the remake just couldn't, recreate?
Well, first off, any horror movie, like you have to care about the characters for it to be a good horror movie. And we brought this up before, Mark, many times. He'll say, if you don't remember the characters' names, then, what was the point probably? You clearly couldn't have been that invested in it. So in the original, when we're introduced to these parents that were played by Craig T. Nelson and Jo Beth Williams, I hands down thought they were perfect. And that's including when I saw it again recently. I mean, they were regular people with regular hopes who were placed in front of an unthinkably horrible situation, and they dealt with it with the kind of courage that you only muster up to save the people who mean the most to you. They don't turn into heroes, like superheroes with amazing skills, but they become desperate to save their loved ones, and I was with them the whole way. When they were happy, I felt it. When they were scared, I was scared. In this remake, we meet these parents, and everything about it seemed just like it was flaking away. Like we meet Sam Rockwell, and the only thing I like is his like snarky, sarcastic remarks. But that's not enough to keep me from caring about this family when ghosts are after him.
And talk about expository dialogue. Like, they're talking to the realtor. Oh, I lost my job with John Deere. Oh, she's a stay-at-home writer. And it's just like, ugh.
Right. Like, and then it's only after they move into this house that he's like, all of a sudden, as if he was saying it for the first time, no, you're not going to work. I'm going to stay unemployed until I find a job. You're going to do your writing. I'm going to be supportive. Like, he may as well have just said, I'm going to be supportive.
Yeah. And then he goes and puts them deeper into debt for all things that are used like later on in the film. He buys like that drone, that cell phone. And he comes home and his wife, and then she just made chicken nuggets for dinner. That was interesting. But, gosh, guys.
You were talking about him spending money. So I saw this with my girlfriend, and the first thing that she said after he comes home from the mall or something to run an errand, he's got all these gifts for the family because they're under hard times. She looks at me and says, "He's really irresponsible." Yeah. And that's in addition to the fact that like he's pouring himself liquor into a coffee mug in like 3 or 4 different scenes in the movie.
Yeah, and they're talking about how the malls are closed, but then he just goes to a mall that's just right there. This is a garbage pail movie, guys. Like most of these remakes nowadays, I don't like, that remake of Texas Chainsaw Massacre with like Jessica Biel. I fell asleep watching it. Like these Evil Dead, whatever. I mean, Evil Dead makes this movie. Evil Dead's the remake is much better than this one. I wasn't even a fan of the Evil Dead remake, but I kind of like Evil Dead remake more now because I watched this movie.
Right. I want to read a movie review of the Poltergeist remake, and basically it's just one line. I can't recommend this movie because the father was financially irresponsible.
That's right. That's the reason. That's the reason not to see it. But no, so the parents, though, I mean, like I said, they phoned it in. Both of them. I mean, Rockwell had about 5 lines that made me laugh and made me like him as a human being for a second, but his character, nothing. No. And then later, when the shit hits the fan, like, they don't seem like they're going through what we're seeing happen on the screen.
Yeah, dude, this kid got sucked into this world with, like, all these buried, angry folk who are looking to go to the light. And they do a gag where the Jared Harris, the Exorcist guy, he flies this drone that Sam Rockwell irresponsibly bought earlier into a wall. And like, so during this dramatic time where this daughter might be gone forever, how do you explain that to the cops? They play this gag of like, oh, the drone crashed, time to let the little kid pilot it.
Yeah, because he's better at it. Yeah, it's just...
Let me explain something, Lazavath. You go home, you're this 12 years old, right? Okay. And you move into this new house, right, with all these crazy looking clown dolls. Ooh. One night, the clown dolls straight up attack you, like not a dream, like they come at you like a spider monkey on Red Bull and Mountain Dew.
Oh no!
And the next day, you're gonna be like, "Hey guys, what's up?"
Yeah, that wouldn't be my reaction. Actually, I'd be like, "Mom, the spider monkey drank my Red Bull."
And what's more is that when we're introduced to this kid, like, he's afraid of the dark. The parents are saying he's been scared of everything ever since they lost track of him in a mall and he was lost. Like, they say he's afraid of everything in the dark. And then this clown attacks him. And then a tree picks him up and dangles him in the air. I don't know why it was just dangling him in the air, this evil tree. Yeah. But that's all it did. And then when the parents came home, I guess the tree was like, oh, I better quit this now. And it drops him. But either way, so then that happens, and the kid was already terrified of the tree, of all things. And then when his sister is basically, on the other side, the spirit world, it's like just by the snap of a finger, he emerges from some Marvel chrysalis, like Chris Evans on Vita Rays as Captain America, and he's just like, "Yep, I'm diving right in there to the other side to save my kid sister." Like, not a thought. Totally not credible that this kid is doing this. And then in the other side, which we shouldn't have seen in the first place, guys, they really dropped the ball on this. Like, there was the mystery in the original where you're like worried about it. You don't know what's going on over there. You don't know what it's like. They just show us this blob of like a corridor made of CGI zombie arms waving around with whispering sounds. And the kid's just walking around like, "Hey, where's my sister?" Yeah. Waving zombie arms. I'm walking on a surface that is made of ghost parts, and I'm cool. They're reaching out for me. I'm good.
Yeah.
Ugh. Who would have been? You know who I think could have been good in this movie? That wasn't Sam Rockwell. I think Paul Walker could have been good in it.
Because he does dad.
Yeah, because he does freaked out like nobody else. So imagine his daughter gets sucked into this netherworld. Like, imagine his reaction. Like, you'd be like, "Dude, this guy's freaking out."
I imagine Paul Walker from Running Scared.
Yeah, he would have nailed it. But no. So during this movie, I'm sitting here thinking about Keanu Reeves from Constantine, because those stupid CGI things look like the things from Constantine. And then I was thinking about how Insidious, how I love the Further, and how like they use practical effects for that red demon, and when he goes into his lair, and like like that makes sense to me. You go deeper and deeper into this, and you bring back something evil. Insidious is a ripoff, but I love that movie. And then I was just watching this, like I was like, Sam Rockwell's likable in every film he makes, and he's likable within the first 10 seconds. But this movie, he was like a non-entity. And then Jared Harris, who's a great actor, Mad Men, great. He has all the expository dialogue, and then like so he has all these scars from like demons beating him up, but he has a reality show, right? So in this world, we should technically believe that these things are real because he's captured them on film.
That's true. So in this movie, we know ghosts are real because the movie's called Poltergeist, and in this movie, there are reality ghost shows, and he is presumably catching this stuff on film, but he seems to be the only one in the world in this movie who has legit proof that there are ghosts, while the paranormal researchers they're talking about using like high speed cameras to pick up something moving 4 feet over the course of 12 hours or something.
Yeah, and like if these poltergeists can zap out that girl's phone, then why don't they just zap out every piece of equipment there?
Yeah.
I don't know, and so the whole Jared Harris element and what that brings into it too, like, so he was one of the only things that they couldn't have reproduced from the original, and that's the Tangina character, Zelda Rubinstein, the midget woman who was the medium in the original. Like, there was, if they pulled out a midget or a dwarf for this remake, that would have been the last straw.
Yeah.
But then they brought in Jared Harris. And he was pretty cool in that horror movie, The Quiet Ones. So I was excited about him. But, I mean, there was nothing cool about him in pretty much the whole movie.
Like, he was basically just a hat with scars on him.
And you know what he was? If you're lost while watching the movie, he's the sign that says where you are. This is what's happening now. Now this is happening.
And then, like, they tie that rope in. Like, they don't even find a stud. That one guy just walks in, drills it into the drywall. He's like, we're good to go. It's like, no, you're not. You just spent 12 hours putting technical equipment in. Find the stud. Like, secure that thing. If that's the only thing that can bring your daughter back.
That scene with the dude in the closet looking for the stud.
Yeah.
That was one of the only other scenes that they didn't copy directly over from the original. In the original... you have one of the paranormal researchers. He sees a snake crawling across the surface of the kitchen, and then something weird happens to it. And then he goes in the kitchen. He has an itch on his face. And he starts scratching his face, and it turns into a clay face. And he's picking his whole face apart until all his skin is gone. It's actually pretty creepy and hard to watch.
Yeah.
And so that was one of the coolest, most grotesque scenes back then. And then they just have this kid with a drill, and it's just this dumb scene, and it's so predictable and over-troped. And
they wanted a CGI gag.
Yeah.
Or no, 3D gag. What did you think, Lazavath? You saw this movie.
Well, I wanted to bring up something that, I actually asked Levingood earlier. When I asked you, why, what is it that they couldn't recreate from the original for the remake? And I just want to bring up one very important point, that it's just a huge difference between the original and remake, and that's Steven Spielberg. Spielberg wrote, directed the original Poltergeist. He's credited as Toby Hooper, because I guess there was a clause in his contract where he couldn't, direct another movie because he was directing, E.T. or something like that. So he just went by the name of Toby Hooper. But, Poltergeist was written and directed by Spielberg and had that kind of Spielberg touch to it. Obviously, the remake, I don't think Spielberg had anything to do with it. I think it was actually Sam Raimi was actually the producer.
He was a producer. That's right.
Wait,
right.
But Toby Hooper, he did.
He did Life Force, the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Funhouse.
Really? I don't know. I thought Spielberg did it under a pseudonym.
No, Toby Hooper is a real dude. I'm reading a quote here. It says, particularly the whole who really directed Poltergeist thing. Rubinson was hilarious.
Yeah.
She said, Toby Hooper couldn't even direct Traffic. While James Caron was all pro Hooper, Goldsmith claims he never even met Hooper, only Spielberg.
Well, Spielberg didn't do Texas Chainsaw Massacre. That was Toby Hooper.
Yeah. So, Toby Hooper directed that, but Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it was too much, too fast for him.
I get it. Oh no, I really thought Steven Spielberg directed Poltergeist.
No, I mean he was involved. Spielberg was also the guy who got Poltergeist down to a PG rating.
Yeah.
Because even when the guy was picking apart his face, he made the argument with the studio or MPAA rating people that it's revealed afterwards that it didn't really happen. Like it was a dream sequence, and the guy was okay. Right. So they're like, all right, fine.
Well, anyway, I'm just gonna have to look that up later. But like Spielberg's influence was definitely present on the original.
Oh God! I mean, there were such powerful, emotionally powerful scenes in this. Because this scene doesn't hold up, or the original doesn't hold up today as a horror movie to me. It holds up as a very, very powerful, emotionally driven family thriller to me that happens to have a supernatural backdrop. Because there are these scenes that are in both movies, like when they call Carol Ann in front of the paranormal investigators when she's on the other side. And in this movie, like, the parents seem fine. I mean, like they've had a tough week at work. And the daughter is totally unfazed and in this remake. And they call, and I don't know, I didn't really feel anything. In the original, like you saw the faces of these parents and you were nervous. And when you hear a silence after the mother, Jo Beth Williams, calls for Carol Ann, Jo Beth Williams is the actress's name, calls for Carol Ann, the character, like there's a silence and you're nervous. And when you hear her call mommy, the music picks up, you get like tingles, or even I do, like when I see it now. And it's so powerful, so emotionally powerful. Yeah, Spielberg all the way for things like that. That's not a Texas Chainsaw maker behind that.
Yeah. And, I'm reading this article now, AV Club, Ain't It Cool News. So Toby Hooper said that it was a misunderstanding from the LA Times that Spielberg and he were working on first and second unit, which are two different units of a film crew. And they said they saw Spielberg shooting some stuff. But he said, Toby Hooper said, I was making the movie, and then I started hearing all this stuff after it was finished. Steven did write the screenplay, and there are other credits on there, but it came down to Steven and myself sitting at his house. Like, so he said he directed it, but then Zelda said that, that Hooper wasn't the one calling the shots. So,
see, I always heard it was Spielberg was the one actually directing this movie.
Yeah, maybe it was like a labor of love. When you love something and like maybe he couldn't have done it, so they put like a puppet on there, and then Spielberg was there doing most of that. But there's no one really knows for sure. Toby says he directed it. Not the guy from Paranormal Activity. Yeah, but
not the ghost.
Yuck. But so it's kind of split. So it's one or the other.
This is a modern day cinematic mystery. Who actually directed the original Poltergeist?
That's right.
Hooper or Spielberg?
Mm-hmm. Now, for the record, we did no research before this podcast into this. We're just shooting from the hip on that one.
Yeah. Well, no, this has some good sources though. Like this is Hooper talking, and then Zelda's talking. So
listen, I cast my vote for Spielberg.
I like it.
I think he directed this movie. That's my story. I'm sticking with it.
I like it.
Yeah. No, I also want to bring up the girl who played, what's her name?
Maddie, the Carol Ann character.
Maddie? Yeah, Carol Ann. Yeah, she was great. She was actually really creepy.
Oh, you mean in the original? You mean the
original.
Carol Ann?
Yeah, the original. Yeah, okay. She was great. She had that classic line, "They're here."
So in both movies, like the kids were cute in their own way, and they were weird in their own way. And when the movie got weird, the kids got weirder. But Carol Ann, Heather O'Rourke in the original as Carol Ann, like she was a character. And her actions didn't just bring about the poltergeist in scenes. Like she was a part of the reveal to the other characters. Like the chair stacking scene in the kitchen in the original, like that's revealing her connection as a young innocent child to these spirits who are trying to reach out to her. And that scene wasn't even meant to be scary, just startling. And then Maddie, in the remake, the Carol Ann character is Maddie. That character didn't feel like a character. She was just there and things would happen around her. She was almost like a filmmaking device or a storytelling device. Mm-hmm. She may as well have been the like a stuffed animal that moved, that was creepy.
Yeah. No, this is going to sound really morbid, but I think one of the things that makes the original, really creepy is that the girl who played Carol Ann, Heather O'Rourke, in the original, she actually died like around age 12. So when you watch her in a movie, you know, in the back of your head, when you know, like she dies like at a young age. When you watch the movie, it's like, oh man, you know, she doesn't really get too much older than this. It's just
her ghost. It's her ghost
Yeah.
that sucked Maddie to the other side in the remake.
yeah, yeah. So
that was kind of mean
in a morbid way. Like the movie's kind of creepier. You know, that.
Well, I mean, the original worked for so many other reasons too, though, because every character, except for the teenage daughter, in my opinion, in the original, but every other character, other than the teenage daughter character, they added to the story. They all had important roles that helped build things. The paranormal researchers, they were supportive. They started to care about the family. We started to care about them and the family. And this one, the paranormal researchers are there. We had Zelda Rubinstein, who was weird, but she brought a new element and a new, different way of trying to save Carol Ann. Jared Harris, he was just telling us stuff, and he didn't feel like he really cared, and so it was just more. They gave us
yeah. I would say that props are more important than characters in the remake. You have the cell phone that the girl got, the drone that the kid got, Jared Harris's hat. The technology that they put in, the screwdriver for the screwdriver 3D gag. It was more about like, oh, bring your comics upstairs, and then the comics pop up later. The little clowns. It was more. The movie was more about props than characters and like little mini set pieces. You know what I mean?
You know, and I think that's just, boy, sorry to the people behind it, but it just feels like horrible writing to me, because as I was watching the movie, and I know the scenes that are coming. So when I see the beginning of a scene, I know what they're recreating or what they're duplicating. And even knowing that, even not needing to know what the buildup is, I felt like they were literally just rushing, like they were on a time limit, to get us from recreated scene to CGI recreated scene. And they took no time to let those characters develop. And even if they gave them the time, they put none of the writing into it. If you looked at the screenplay, I'll bet almost all the writing was in brackets instead of dialogue.
Mm-hmm. Oh. Walks upstairs, notices something strange.
Is it ever worth it to remake a horror movie, especially a classic like this? Because one of the appeals of the horror movie is that, you don't know what's going to happen, right? That's where a lot of fear comes from. When you remake a classic like this, people already know what's going to happen, so that element of fear has already been neutered or diminished. So is it ever a good idea to remake horror movies?
If you have well-written characters creating powerful emotional scenes, even if you've seen the movie and you know it's coming, it'll work. Julianne Moore as the mother in the new Carrie, and Chloe Grace as Carrie. I thought they were both so powerful, and seeing Julianne Moore as the sociopathic mother, it was chilling. So that movie worked for me. It comes down more to the writing and the acting, though, in that case, than it does the CGI and the jumps. And what do you think, Mark? You got a good hand in this, I think.
It's tough. It's a tough world we live in, because movies like It Follows come out. They get critically praised. Everyone says it's the next best thing, but its entire run, I don't think, made as much as Poltergeist first weekend, like 10 million. And so, I mean, if you want to make a quick buck, I'm sure, but I think they're running out of stuff. But I don't know. I don't think they. I don't like remakes at all. But gosh, no. I'm all wordless here, but then I'm trying to think about like the biggest films we've had recently have been like Saw, Paranormal Activity. Those are original ideas. So I think there's more Final Destination. Create something original that's great, then ride it out for 6 films and make 6 bad films. Like, you don't have to recreate, an Abercrombie Fitch version of old gritty classics.
Yeah, it's interesting you say Paranormal Activity, because I've always been of the mind that was a blatant rip of Poltergeist, just where they don't show you anything.
Yeah.
That's an interesting way of looking at that.
They did. I guess the thing did haunt them since they were kids.
Yeah.
Well, Well, just in the nature of things moving around in the house instead of stacking. There was the kitchen scene. They bring in the cameras. It's kind of like the equivalent of a paranormal investigator, in my opinion. It's just it's just that you have a smaller cast with fewer dimensions as a result, bringing in the storytelling. So it had a totally different feel, and I liked that about it. But I look at that as a more bare bones reapproaching of Poltergeist, but in a way that maybe wasn't so blatant to most viewers.
And I guess, John, to answer Lazarus, to answer your question about remakes, is like this movie. This set was Spielberg and Hooper. It was kind of plagued with different directions and a lot of character to it. You can't recreate that, so you shouldn't try to recreate it. If you're going to remake it, I know this hurts me saying, but try an Evil Dead remake where you try something different, switch up the heroine, switch up the themes, have the same blueprint, but build the building differently. Start with the same foundation and build a different building. That's when the movies work. I think that's when you, So I mean, that's the best horror remakes that are out there are the ones that have used that foundation but steered away from a shot by shot remake.
Because you still maintain that element of surprise. Really.
If you mix it up, like, I mean, new Evil Dead I felt like it was kind of like a lifeless drone, but it still had a lot of good stuff to it. And sorry, Levin Good, I know you love this movie. I'm not like having a go at you. I appreciate the technical aspects of it, and like it wasn't a total wash. But just give us something new. Don't tell a prequel to it. Don't do a shot for shot remake like Psycho. Give us something, remake it, but give us something different.
Give us a Fury Road, is what you're saying.
Yeah, give us a Fury Road. You say don't give a prequel to it. You make me think of The Thing, which the 2011 The Thing, which they said was a sequel, but they recreated about half of the scenes in that movie, but they just said it happened earlier, coincidentally, and all these same scenes happened. Like it was just. Bleh.
Yeah, and like garbanzo beans, but.
Funny thing about the Thing, the 2011 Thing, because like I read it was a prequel. And it's just like when I was watching, I was just imagining Kurt Russell's character just like getting drunk, like while all this is happening.
You know what? I'd rather watch him sit around like with his hat on, with his sombrero on, drinking whiskey while this whole movie takes place.
I think that's the next Fast and Furious movie.
It's Belgian Ale. It's Belgian Ale, though.
Yeah. No, he ran out of Belgian Ale. He decided to just get some Coronas with Dom.
So we did a tournament here where we did the best horror remakes. And, Hills Have Eyes, I think, was an example of a good remake. I like the Fright Night remake.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
I thought it was like a good bad movie. That's how I viewed that one.
Colin Farrell was the vampire in that movie, right?
Yeah, and like I feel like everyone was having fun. Like Crazies was good. I thought that was a good remake. Dawn of the Dead, Piranha 3D was a good remake.
Yeah.
But like they all kind of went their own. Like Piranha was a remake, but it went a completely different direction.
It went over the top. They intentionally went farcically gory.
And actually, The Thing was a remake with Kurt Russell.
Yeah.
You know what though? If you saw the original, the Thing from Another World, like those two movies are pretty dissimilar. Like because the 1981 John Carpenter's The Thing was more true to the original story. Who goes there?
So I'm guessing the moral of the story is if you're gonna remake something and you want it to be good, remake it and not have it be like anything like the original.
Yeah,
and have it be a remake in name only.
Like They Live was a remake of a Care Bears movie, so that's why it worked.
No, I like that. That's a definite but not definite answer.
It's a remake in name only. That's why
it's a copiously slight answer.
And don't give us so much like the Halloween remake by Rob Zombie tried to explain everything. Don't tell us everything. Create an aura. That's why The Other Side worked in the original for me, because it was scary because it was unknown. Yep. Yeah. And I did like the Hitcher remake only for the scene where Sean Bean literally takes a helicopter and 5 cop cars with like one gun.
Dude, the only time he could be so stone cold was when he's Ned Stark in Game of Thrones.
And but yeah, so I like what you said, John. John Lasvat, do you want to sum up a good remake?
Yeah, don't make it anything like the original.
Because we've seen it already.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think on that point, now is a good time to wrap up the podcast because I don't think we can top that, right? Unless we do a remake of this podcast.
You know, one thing I'll throw out
only.
is,
Yeah.
one thing I'll throw out is that National Lampoon's Vacation had a great theme song called Holiday Road. Most of you listeners might not even realize it, but it's a fun, uppity song.
Yeah.
And you need to do a YouTube search for Mad Max Holiday Road because they cut up the 30-minute action sequence in the beginning of Mad Max Fury Road, and they have it to the music of Holiday Road, and it's happy music. It's a delight. You have to go find this.
That just sounds amazing.
Oh, it's a delight. It's so wonderful.
Right.
Wait. So that's the name of it?
That one.
I never knew the words to that song.
Hey, while you're looking
saying
at
Holiday Road.
Yeah, while you're looking up on YouTube, also check out moviesfilmsandflicks.com. Oh, see that? Smooth segue.
Hey,
well, it was smooth. I mentioned
and when you're typing around, go to sharkdropper.com.
Oh, another smooth one.
And we need you guys to go to audibletrial.com/shark so we can keep our host and producer
Smooth.
John Lazaroff loaded with Red Bull.
Yes.
yeah, until Red Bull finally ponies up and starts sending us cases for these free plugs.
Yes.
Guys, we need to keep Lazaroff loaded with Red Bull.
Yeah. All right, guys. I think I'm really excited for the next one because it's going to be a remake of this one, but it's going to be completely different.
It's going to be all with Kurt Russell. We're going to remake this podcast with Kurt Russell.
All right.
I think we should do it, guys. We should try it. We should remake the podcast.
I've been your host, Kurt Russell. For my co-host, Kurt Russell.
Peace out.
And my other co-host, Kurt Russell.
Peace, love, Kurt Russell.
This has been Movies, Films, and Flicks. See you guys next time.
Above the target. T-minus 5 seconds till shark drop. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Drop the shark! Go! 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 This podcast is a Shark Dropper Studios production.